India has built out over 164 gigawatts of solar infrastructure, but planting millions of glass panels in the desert is only the beginning of a massive logistical challenge. For the entire 20 to 25-year lifespan of these arrays, operators fight a relentless physical enemy: soiling. Dust, dirt, and debris constantly bake onto the glass. Even a thin layer of grime throttles energy production, forcing plant managers to rely on armies of workers armed with squeegees to constantly scrub down the glass in the harsh sun. It is a strict operational necessity, not an optional luxury. An Indian firm called Aegeus Technologies stepped into this bottleneck with a modern alternative: autonomous, waterless robots designed to clean massive solar fields without human intervention. They engineered a highly effective answer to a decades-long physical problem. Yet their initial strategy to monetize this technology was entirely misaligned with that long timeline. In their 2024 financial year, Aegeus operated on a very traditional manufacturing model. They built a piece of heavy equipment and sold it to solar developers for a large upfront capital expense. This chart breaks down their early revenue streams, and you can see exactly where the money came from. A staggering 95% of their total revenue was generated by these one-off product sales. The math here creates a severe limitation. Aegeus was permanently solving a continuous, multi-decade headache for their clients, but they were only cashing a check on the day of delivery. To capture the true long-term value generated by keeping these massive solar farms running efficiently, they needed to completely discard that one-and-done transaction. By 2026, the company executed an aggressive shift in how they monetized their technology. Looking back at the breakdown chart, the change is stark. For the solar farm operator, this completely restructures the math. Instead of funding a massive initial equipment purchase, their cleaning costs become a flat, highly predictable monthly operating expense. For Aegeus, the financial architecture becomes incredibly strong. They build a recurring stream of income backed by physical assets that naturally scales upward as the client builds more solar capacity. It is an exceptionally smart way to maximize lifetime customer value, locking in revenue for as long as the sun shines and the dust settles on those panels. On paper, this service-oriented pivot looks wildly successful, driving an 87% surge in overall company revenue in a single year. This chart illustrates that top-line momentum, with total revenue leaping from 15.3 crore to nearly 41 crore by 2026. But generating recurring revenue by operating your own fleets is incredibly capital-intensive. You can see the strain by looking directly at their operating cash flow in this investment snapshot. Despite reporting over 4 crore in net profit for the year, the actual cash generated from their operations was a negative 1.51 crore. The accounting shows that the MCAAS model is highly profitable, but the physical reality is that building and deploying the service infrastructure is currently draining cash directly from the business. The specific mechanism pulling that cash out is detailed here in their working capital metrics. Aegeus is dealing with a receivable cycle stretching to 141 days. Clients are taking nearly 5 months to pay their ongoing service invoices. Because Aegeus has to keep paying for parts, labor, and maintenance during that massive delay, they are forced to stretch their own balance sheet to the limit to keep the robots running. For this transition to truly work long-term, the company has to dramatically tighten the cycle. They need to compress that collection period closer to a 100-day window to convert paper profits into actual operating cash. Aegeus has successfully engineered a 25-year recurring revenue model that perfectly matches the physical reality of solar energy. But the ultimate durability of the business will come down to a very simple test: whether they can collect the cash fast enough to avoid choking on their own growth.